2025 Tour de France in Valence, and a wet, wild day. This is cycling, always out in the elements and always continues despite the conditions. And today, blasting ahead in the heavy rain that came in the latter portion of the day, Jonathan Milan, the big, tall Italian in the green jersey, the green monster, powering over the finish line first, ahead of Yori Mayus, taking second on the day in a reduced bunch sprint. Because in the final kilometer, as a lot of us at the finish line waiting for the riders were predicting, a crash occurred. With these heavy rains in an area that's known for its wine production in the Rhone Valley, hell, the roads get nasty and slick when it falls. And along with the rain, along with the falling of the rain, it was Biniam Girmay, one of the top guns, last year's green jersey, the rider from Utrecht, hit the deck. And frankly, when I saw him pass the finish line right beside me, I was trying to get some shots and running out there on my own. The legs tired after this morning's run, logged on Strava. You can check it out. I didn't get a great shot of Benny, but it looked like his right collarbone might have been snapped in that fall. We're going to have to wait till the medical report comes out. Let's hope for the best for our Eritrean sprinter, as he will want to recover tonight on what's been a miserable Tour de France for him. Hasn't been going the way he's hoped, and we certainly don't want to see it in this way for Biniam. The rest of the riders seemed to get through okay. Race leader Tadej Pogacar in the yellow jersey made it through fine. We did hear reports that perhaps Guillaume Bovan of Team Israel Premier Tech might have been banged up in that crash. Tim Merlier, one of the hot sprint favorites, was held up in that crash and was not able to contest for victory, leaving it to Milan, along with the victory, adding more points to his green jersey that at a time looked perhaps not to be going his way, both with Tadej Pogacar picking up green jersey points and with Mathieu van der Poel knocking on the door. Mathieu van der Poel out with pneumonia, and Pogacar, rightly so, not really contesting the intermediate sprints, but will be picking up those green jersey points as we head towards the mountains tomorrow, and let's hope for better weather. Early on in the day, well, it was a group of four with Abrahamsen, early stage winner in this Tour de France from Uno X, a power player. This group of four held a nice advantage and were working well together out there on the day. Two categorized climbs, and on the first of two, well, that's when Jonathan Milan looked to be seeing his chance of a sprint victory slip away like the slippery roads we had out here on the roads on the finish here in Valence. He was slipping off the back. Up front were attacks of Wout van Aert, Ivan Romeo, the Spanish champion of Team Movistar, young gun, I think the youngest rider in the race, looking great out there. Surely a victory is going to be coming his way. Quinn Simmons up attacking, but not attacking to mark the moves. Key distinction there, because he promised all of his support for Jonathan Milan at the start of the stage, and he was given it. Also, Tom Skewins there in the team, Lidl Trek. We saw Jasper Stuyven, former Milano-Sanremo winner, up there working as well. All those guys trying to keep things under control as the attacks were coming left and right. And there was an attacking group off the front, and Jonathan Milan was distanced. At one point, Skewins drops back, and then we saw Simmons drop back along with Stuyven to help in the power and the drive back behind in that bunch to bring the riders back up. In that bunch up front, we saw Caden Groves up there. Also, I think we might have had Biniam Girmay up there as well, so that group had reason to try to work and put Milan into the hurt box. It came back together in that valley to that second climb. Van Aert attacking. He was off the front for a little bit, couldn't bridge up to those front four and set up. And then what we had was a race coming into the sprint here in Valence with the dark clouds circling and rain coming as predicted, unfortunately, with around 20 kilometers to go. Earlier in the day, there was rain here in Valence, but it had dried up, but then the rain came again. And with that, well, dangerous conditions. Lidl Trek looked to be really worn out from their efforts early on. We didn't see them up at the front. Then at that point, Intermarché was contributing. And then in those final 5 kilometers, we see Jake up the front. We see Israel Premier Tech, and all you Jake Stewart fans out there, we confirmed with him this morning. We can call him Jake the Snake. And that he confirmed that. It's not just my nickname, Jake the Snake. And that they were working for him instead of Pascal Ackermann for the sprint finish. Remember, Jake the Snake picked up sprint victory there in the Dauphiné, beating none other than, yes, Jonathan Milan. We wished it was going to be a clean sprint because Talking at the finish afterwards to Tim Merlier, he said this was his last chance. He doesn't think Paris is going to be a sprint with that Mont climb added in the sprint in the circuits there before we finish up on the Champs-Élysées. Oh, terrible incident in that final 1 kilometer that knocked down a lot of the sprinters. Thankfully, it looks to be, early reports, our GC riders are okay. We're going to get those controls on Biniam Girmay. Then we had this reduced bunch of around 10 riders into the final. We saw the national championship jersey of Kazakhstan up there at the front. It was Fafanoff leading out for Davide Ballerini. Power punch up to the line, but it wasn't to be. We saw a strong kick of Picnic Post. We saw over there on the other side, well, the green figure of Jonathan Milan, but Arnaud Delis had his lead out man powering up to the front. Delis was squirrely at one point because I think he almost overlapped with Milan's wheel, nearly lost control, but it was Jordi Mayus giving Milan a run and a bike throw to the line, giving Milan the hardest time to try to pull off victory, but Milan pulls off victory and a second stage win in this Tour de France with the pressure on his shoulders to really perform, because Lido-Trek hasn't been performing that well, hasn't been working that well in this race, but they pull it off today with the stage victory, justifying maybe his position as sprinter in this race, leaving Mads Pedersen to race the Giro d'Italia before the Tour de France. Milan picks up victory, questions over Biniam Girmay. As we go into stage 18, Côte de la Loze tomorrow at the end of stage 17 in Valence, a rainy, wet Tour de France. Jonathan Milan, Italian, coming out on top.